Hey, what's going on, guys? We're on Turkey here. Welcome back to the channel. Yesterday, we got a new rules update for Sorcery. I think it's the first one this year. I'm pretty sure our last one was when Arthurian Legends released. There's actually more alongside the rules here. They released like the Codex, which is a like comprehensive like rules question answering machine. We're gonna kind of look into that. But they also published like the newest rule book. I thought there was like a link to it. It might be at the very bottom. Yeah, we're gonna look at the annotated rule book and see every change throughout this. We're also just gonna read this article to talk about the big stuff, and then we will dabble into the codex. So let's get into it. Welcome to July 2025 rules update for Sorcery. Realm continues to grow with each new set. We're always looking for ways to tighten up gameplay, keep the kitchen table contest feeling smooth, intuitive, and rich with flavor. These updates take effect immediately, right now, happening. Boom, Gen Con, it's happening. Your LGS tomorrow, it's happening. Whether you're a Geomancer, a Noble Templar, or a Dragon Lord looking to take to the skies. Read the rulebook, know what's happening. And brave sorcerer, learn what strange new tides ripple across the realm. Strike the realm, or at least sites. No enemy in your path, no problem. You can now strike undefended sites. So this is huge because, well, the most obvious thing, and that most people are kind of already aware of, is Dapple Vampire now heals when you attack a site undefended. That's really crazy. So I think a lot of what went into the rules updates with this was like kind of two goals. The first was like streamlining the experience to learn the game. So like making it easier to pick up things. I've taught a lot of people how to play the game, some more successfully than others, but it's definitely always something to like that you always bring up in the first couple of games with new players is like, oh, by the way, you actually don't deal damage when you attack sites, right? Like it actually causes loss of life, and there are no strikes. And I didn't think that was ever a bad thing. I think it made sense for the game, but it definitely did cause some confusion with new players. I mean, I don't think it's like that hard to remember it, but definitely the goal here, this is definitely a change that was made to streamline the experience. Good whack will deal damage directly to the site, drain life from its controller, just like you'd expect. If you're charging with a lance, the weapon shatters on impact. After all, lances are made for dueling, not demolition. Again, like you'll be playing with like someone who's newer to the game, like in a draft or something. They attack you with a lance, and they're like, Purple Knight attacks your site, and like you take 4, right? And it's like, nope, actually, because the lance doesn't break, you actually aren't striking me, and like you get to keep your lance, but I only take 3. Now, like you do, it definitely for a new player or like just a less experienced player, it feels more intuitive that like you're attacking, and so you're doing everything that comes with it. I don't think the time for this is really the right time. There's so many complaints right now about Archimago in the meta, and a lot of Archimago decks play Dapple Vampire nowadays, and they just like juiced her up to like 10, because now there was some like sort of strategy when Vampire is on the field, like maybe I just don't put minions near her. Like you can attack me for 4, that's fine. I'll take 4 as long as you don't gain 4. But now it's like you're gonna like take 4, and the other person's gonna gain 4 like no matter what. So it definitely feels like there's kind of less counterplay, I guess, to the vampires. The one thing I will say though is I've played against a lot of Archimagos that play the vampires and that don't play the vampires. And if you're actually prepared for the vampires and you kill them before they do anything, that can be really big to like taking the Archimago down. Like Dapple Vampire and then pass is way different than like Poison Nova and then pass. Like Poison Nova resets the board, Vampire it doesn't, and then when you kill that, they spent 5 mana for nothing. If Archimago, like I think any Archimago player that like wasn't playing vampires with this change is definitely going to be including a few, and that is an area that the other player can look to exploit. I don't know if it'll be enough, and if you can't exploit it, it's certainly worse for you. But yeah. Okay. we're going to move on. Realm responds to interaction. We're introducing a new concept, interacting with the realm. If your minion does any of these things, casting a spell, striking an enemy, activating a special ability, or dealing damage, it has interacted with the realm. For example, stealth now breaks after a unit interacts with the realm, no more shadowy fireball throwers, and drop, a unit can't use it on a turn where that unit has already interacted with the realm. This is fine. I don't know if there's no cards yet that really mention like interacting with the realm. We'll see if that ever becomes a thing. This really seems just like a Morgana nerf, because now when Morgana casts a spell, she will lose her stealth and she will be much easier to interact with. So it will probably make you think twice about when you want to use her. You'll probably want to get multiple spells out of her that turn. Stealth always was lost when you activated a special ability, always when you dealt damage, always when you struck. Like, casting a spell is the only new thing that, and again, it really only applies to Morgana. So this, yeah, it's a Morgana nerf, but also dropping. So you used to be locked out of dropping if you participated in combat. And I'm pretty sure that was like the only way that I want to say that they've maybe like gotten rid of like participated in combat, or I forget exactly what the wording was, just to like throw that into like lump it in with interacted with the realm. Because you used to not be able to drop after you participate. So if you struck somebody, if you attacked anything, that was combat, and you were stuck holding whatever you were holding. The big thing for this is those Death Speaker decks, that like 4-color Death Speaker with all the wizards. You're not going to be able to juggle your Philosopher's Stones across your avatar and your wizards anymore, because once you cast a spell, you've interacted with the realm and you're stuck holding it. So that's like that's a nerf there. I mean, I feel like that whole shindiggery was pretty much like win more stuff anyways, and Death Speaker hasn't really been too relevant meta-wise for a while, so I don't know how often we'll see that, but it was a pretty cool like advanced like maneuver that like really experienced players could do. We'll see what else is done with realm interaction as things go on. I think I started a tangent earlier, not a tangent, but like talking about the two goals of these rules changes. First was to streamline the experience. The second was future-proofing, like prepping for Gothic and just like fixing up some things that raised questions for like, you know, things to come. And maybe this is future-proof more than it is streamlined. I mean, I feel like this is a bit of both, because the whole drop thing with participated, that led to a lot of questions of like, what does combat mean? If I attack a site, if I grapple shot something, is that combat? Now, like, it's very clear, clean cut, like, interacts with the realm is these things, and you're locked out of dropping once you do it. You lose stealth once you do it. And, like, we'll see what else is to come with that. But, yeah, I do think that this is a little bit of both future prepping and streamlining the game. Avatars can fly now. Yes, really. They fly now? They fly now. If your avatar gains the Airborne keyword, you can now take full advantage of it, soaring over enemies, moving diagonally, and benefiting from elevated defense. That means, yes, the Dragon Lord can stretch its wings. So yeah, this was a question raised by several members in the community when like Dragon Lord was being revealed, because he gains the abilities of his unique dragon, and dragons tend to have Airborne, right? They have really long wings. So it's like, does Dragon Lord get Airborne? Can he move across the realm diagonally? And the answer is like, yeah, he's going to get all the advantages of Airborne. So moving diagonally, not being intercepted, and not being able to be attacked. Dragon Lord, you only get the ability on your turn. So like you will be able to be attacked and all that on your opponent's turn as the Dragon Lord. But it is cool that you can move that will be pretty big, especially when your avatar is like your primary spellcaster. Dragon Lord looks really cool. This guy to the right, Callistus, he like very likely, like I might just show up to Gen Con with a 4-color Dragon Lord deck and make this guy work. He's really cool. And we'll see what else is in this set. I think it could be really exciting. I am curious. We're just gonna take a look real quick through Curiosa. You can see I was looking at Strike earlier. I wanted to look up Airborne and see if there's any other effects that give an avatar Airborne. I know that there's cards that give minions Airborne, but I was not sure if anything could give a unit. So like one thing would be like Power of Flight. Where is that? Does that say an ally or a minion? Power of Flight. Allied minion, right? And then there's like the Wings of Invention. This carries minions. You could give your avatar Airborne if this could carry it, but it cannot. Although, in a really wacky world, you could have a Zephyrine airship carry a warhorse carrying your avatar, because keywords get conferred to units that they're carrying. So if your airship is carrying warhorse, your warhorse has Airborne, and your warhorse has Airborne, so you have Airborne. So if you want to be perma Airborne, the airship might be your ticket to it. I'm sure, you know, in Gothic maybe we'll see more ways to give the avatar Airborne, but so far every card that really talks about like you have Airborne specifically mentions it being a minion. But yeah, the airship might be your ticket into the good stuff. There's nothing else, right? Yeah, not really. All right, we're going to go back to the rules. That was just kind of wanted to look at that. Immobile means immobile. Let's put this one to rest. When a unit is immobile, it simply cannot move itself. But don't confuse stillness with helplessness. An immobile unit can attack and defend at its current location. Big Pudge Butcher buff. I don't know if there's any other immobile units that are super relevant. I don't even know if... I guess Quagmire nerf. Does Quagmire? Yeah, Quagmire immobilizes. So Quagmire gets nerfed. Pudge Butcher stonks go up. Not really too much to say here. Maybe Pudge is a lot better now. Like, he's definitely a lot better. Maybe he, like, is a force to threaten Archimago now. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. You means you. I want you for sorcery. In a game full of avatars, artifacts, and ancient enchantments, it's easy to get confused about who's who. From now on, you and your always refer to the player, not the avatar. This reverses the old Sparkmage FAQ and brings much needed consistency across the card pool, making sorcery easier to teach, learn, and play. We still apply the golden rule to alpha avatars, like Avatar of Earth, which obviously refers to the avatar, not the player. Right, because Avatar of Earth is like, you have +1 power, and like, you know, you don't actually have +1 power, IRL. Yeah, so basically, like, your other units can cast stuff, right? Because you is the player. I kind of liked you being the avatar. It made you feel like more connected. What's the word? Not like empowered, but it really like promoted the idea that you are your avatar. And now this going away kind of takes that away. I liked the you are your avatar thing. That was cool to me. I do get, like, again, this is streamlining. This makes it just easier for someone to pick up sorcery and be like, I am me. Like, you know, what you call you is me. And so it like makes sense from that perspective, but like that was kind of one of sorcery's things. But yeah, it's a Sparkmage buff. Like, all of these avatars like that change. So, you know, congrats if you play these avatars. Big units, clearer language. Oversized units, those glorious units that occupy more than one location, have always pushed the bounds of the board. But how do cards that say its site or its location interact with something that big? You pick a single site or location it occupies, respectively. So this makes me wonder about certain interactions. Like, if they're specifying its site or its location, what does it mean with like the word nearby? Do you have to pick like one site or location that you're looking nearby? Because I'm thinking about Enchantress, and like there's a cool thing that you could do with Enchantress with standing stones. You animate an aura, and it's partially on the standing stones. It has Spellcaster, and then you cast a Poison Nova. And that nearby radius is huge because your unit is huge. But so I kind of wonder if nearby? Like, does Poison Nova act the same, or am I picking one location that is nearby? Some things are definitely pretty obvious. Like if we go back to Curiosa for a second and we look at Spin Attack, an ally strikes an enemy at its location. Spin Attack is now only going to hit one location. Spin Attack, you used to be able to like sweep an area with the auras using Enchantress, and you can't do that anymore. I honestly, not only is this a, an Enchantress nerf, which I don't think is necessary, I do not think that this streamlines learning the game at all. I think it makes way more sense to say the unit occupies all the locations that it occupies. Having to pick one doesn't feel very intuitive from a new player person. Now then again, I'm not a new player anymore, but like I have taught a lot of people, and I think that this would trip them up a lot more. You generally aren't like teaching people the game with Enchantress, so like I haven't really had to have this come up in a like learn to play session. But I mean, it definitely does not seem, maybe it's a future proofing thing, but I don't see this as a streamlining experience. Intercept made simple. They've been going off for a while about like, oh, Intercept is confusing for new players. I don't think it ever was, but well, Intercept has previously been a little tricky to explain to new. You see what I'm talking right here? And now it's as simple as this. If an enemy used move and attack without attacking, you can that's what it always was. It's not now it's as simple as this. It was always this. But even like there's still like stipulation here. You have to be on that site it's moving to. Like you're omitting that. The timing for attack and intercept are now the same. After all movement is completed, did they attack? You can defend. Did they choose not to attack? You can intercept. It's always been that way. There is no change so far. This last part is where the change comes in. Note that movement +1 and faster units can now speed by any possible interceptor, since interception now only occurs after all movement is completed if they choose not to attack. Okay, so I guess, yeah, they did change this because attack and intercept are the same, yeah. Before, if you moved into my site, if you had movement +1 and you moved into my site, I could intercept you right away. Now, it's when your movement is complete, I intercept you. I don't really hate this. It definitely, makes movement plus abilities and units better. And that's always cool because I think they're kind of slept on right now. So yeah, more bonus points for that. If you don't have any movement enhancers, I mean, intercept is functionally the same. I don't think it was ever that complicated. I think the rulebook did a terrible job at showing people how it worked, but it was always just like, it was basically defending except not for attacking, and you can't move to intercept. That was like the big difference between intercept and defend, was that you couldn't move. You had to be where you are. You had to be intercepting on the site you were at. And again, it's not for an attack, it's just for movement. Okay, and those are all the big things. Now we're going to take a look at this annotated rulebook and see what has changed. So, PDFs, man, they're going to have to load. Okay, here we go. We're getting there. All right, for experienced players, this rule. So first change, they give us a link to the Codex. Rulebook handles most of your queries, but you can use the Codex for even more detail. We're going to do this after. We're just going to look at all of these highlights first. The fundamentals of the game are no, couldn't preview 5. Oh, there it is. We got there, boys. Yeah, the fundamentals of the game remain the same. You know, it's still the sorcery you know and love. It's just now Dapple Vampire heals when it attacks your site. Dapple Vampire was like kind of like the best unit in the game. Like some would tell you that, and if you argued against it, I would listen to your argument, but I don't know if I would agree with you. Spans of land. Okay, so Spans of land, there's one card in the game that talks about a span of land. That's Minecart Madness. And now they did cover spans of land in this category before. I have like the original beta rulebook. They're just making it better. Maybe this is a hint that Gothic is going to do something with a span of land. It's basically a body of water, but for land. Here and there, okay. Here and there are used to contextually refer to the locations that a card occupies. For most cards, such as avatars, minions, and artifacts, that means one location. For most auras, it means the 2x2 area they occupy. And for sites, it means 2 locations, their surface and subsurface. Nothing has changed here. They just cleaned this up and made it much more like, mwah, chef's kiss. Good. We like that. Casting spells, nothing changed there. Elemental threshold, multiple element threshold, activating abilities. Was there something I missed? Hang on, I kind of mana. Okay, no, I didn't miss anything. Activating abilities, playing sites, move and attack. And every unit can tap to activate the move and attack ability. This is a basic ability. Okay, yeah, 5 basic abilities, move and attack, which is the ability, yeah, okay. We're talking about the highlights, which allows it to optionally move, then optionally attack something at its location. When using this ability, declare the intended movement path and resolve it. After resolving all the movement, then decide if you attack at that location. I think this is what's new. After resolving movement, you decide to attack. And then I think after you decide to attack, that's when they decide if they intercept or defend. I don't really know. This might have, yeah, no, there's a lot of like funky stuff relating to switching regions when you, this makes sense. So because it's like if I'm burrowed underneath a minion, right? If my blue cap knockers are underneath your scent hounds, let's say, you technically like have an attack target, right? Like you actually target a minion with like your ability. And the thing is that when you're cross regions, you technically can't legally target something that is not in your region. So this sort of cleans up that little like rules paradox where now you resolve the movement first. So I come to the surface and now I target my scent hound, your scent hounds for the attack. Whereas before, like, we talked a lot about like the game looking forward, and it just like, well, it sees that when your movement is resolved that the hounds will be a legal target, so it's fine. And I think that's where we're like changing the old way is like now you resolve the movement and you decide to attack after that, so that now like your target is actually legal as you declare it. So that's a really really solid future proofing there, because that was like a real, that was a pretty basic example to like, you could get into some really tricky stuff with like, I don't know, can you not attack there? Like, yeah, this is really good. I like that. Attacking the surface of an enemy site. If you attack the surface of an enemy site and your opponent doesn't defend, simply strike the site, damaging it and causing the controlling avatar to lose that much life. Importantly, attacking a site cannot deliver a death blow because it causes the controlling avatar to lose life. Okay, so this was what we saw in the article. The thing that changed here is that you strike the site. I've seen people talking about Free City, and that like Free City now will take damage when you like strike it, and you'll lose that much because you damaged it. I think Free City should probably get errataed at this point, just because Free City is still defending, no? But it says here, like, if your opponent doesn't defend, simply strike the site, damaging it. And so Free City says it defends for you, not like it, Trollbridge says it just strikes back. But Free City uses that defend word. So I think at this point it should be errataed to like not defend. Or like they need to like, do something about this line in the rule book that says your opponent doesn't defend, because Free City is defending. This is a nerf to Free City. Of course, it's a buff to the Vampire, Sir Galahad, Blood Ravens. We'll see. It's also a buff to like Grim Gisarm and Mask of Mayhem, the strike doublers, which is kind of funny. I've been playing around with Grim Gisarm to like do some like one-shot shenanigans, and it's good to know that like I'm not really trolling with that in my deck anymore. But this is a major change. Defend, Intercept. When an enemy using the move and attack finishes its movement and then chooses not to attack, any of your units there may tap to intercept and fight that enemy. Looks pretty good. Notice how they fixed the diagram in the rulebook. This used to be like Rimland nomads running through the Amazon warriors, and it made people think that intercept was for when you leave the site that you occupy, not when you enter it. So this is just a much better example of what's happening. Scourge zombies, carrying units. Yeah, so as I was saying earlier, you confer, it says it somewhere, confer those abilities. So Zephyrine Airship, carrying Warhorse, carrying your avatar, you've got Airborne. You've also got Charge. Anything else? Storyline. For example, your ghost ship taps to use a move and attack ability. Okay, yeah, so we're just doing some storyline stuff. I don't really know even what is changing here. To use a move and attack, adding to the storyline. As the ability resolves, you declare and resolve their movement. After movement, you decide to attack the Autumn River. I guess just because it's after movement, you decide to. Yeah, because again, like, if you're in the Void, what do you mean you're attacking the Autumn? You can't target it. It's not in the same region as you. So yeah, this very important that they did this. This was like a sample card, Book of Kells, and it's now in the rulebook. So that's strange, right? Spoiler, Gothic spoiler, maybe. Airborne, this unit may fly while on the surface, gaining the following benefits. The benefits here are not different at all. I think the thing here is that it says this unit. It does not, like, this would say minion before, but now it says unit. So move diagonally, can't be intercepted unless they have Airborne or ranged, and can't be targeted by attacks unless the attacking unit has the Airborne ability. Flooded, oh, that's neat. They changed. A flooded site has a minimum of 1 water affinity. Ooh, see, they use the word affinity. Now that's neat because my friends and I, we say the word attunement, but you don't find the word, like, before the rulebook always used the word threshold for everything, but now they're actually using the word affinity, which I think, I've had a lot of new players, when I use the word threshold, they're like, what the heck? But like calling it affinity or attunement definitely gives you a better sense of what the mechanic is, of like, you need to have an affinity with water or an attunement with earth in order to use these effects. So I like that they're actually like using this and not just threshold. I never understood what threshold was. Like it's an MTG mechanic that involves the graveyard. In addition to any other affinities it provides. Therefore, it's a water site. Yeah, okay, so a flooded site has a minimum of 1 water affinity, and so I guess if it's worth mentioning, like every water site is flooded, I guess is like the big takeaway here. I don't know what this looked like before the rules changed. There's definitely nothing like, it's definitely just a difference of wording here to make something easier to understand. Here and there. Here and there refer to the locations that card occupies. For most cards, such as, that means 1 location. For most auras, it means a 2x2 area they occupy. Yeah, so we saw this in the article. Immobile, this unit can't take steps. Very simple, very clean. Love that. Of course, they can now attack and defend, but they just can't move while doing it. A unit interacts with the realm if it strikes, deals damage, casts a spell, and activates a special ability. Yes, so this is a new keyword, interact. I wonder if like combat was like, maybe they like got rid of that. I mean, I don't see anything about combat here, so maybe. Elemental affinity and threshold. Sites and other cards provide elemental affinity. Elemental threshold is the minimum affinity required to cast a given spell. Okay, so that's kind of, so now affinity is the actual like symbols, but threshold is what you need to. That makes sense because that's your threshold, right? I get it. I'm picking up what you're putting down. EC, trigger or activate some abilities. Gotcha. Phase Assassin, Stealth. I think the only change here is that it talks about interacting with the realm. Stealth is the same. Besides that, Morgana Le Fay was nerfed. Phase Assassin is really cool. Jussie Pilkus, probably pronouncing his name wrong, but he did the art for this guy. He's my favorite artist in Sorcery. Wrath of the Sea is a really cool card. Here and there, we did kind of see this one already. It was up there as well. Same with Airborne. Did we not just see this? Okay, and this is the Annotated rulebook. That is every change that happened in this July update in preparation for Gothic. These will all be live. Like, this is the rulebook we're using for Gen Con, ladies and gentlemen. So hope you're caught up and hope you know what you're rocking. You're striking sites now. You're not dropping things after you interact with the realm, and you're not staying hidden after you do it either. Let's actually, where was it? Curiosa / Codex. Let's. Curiosa / cards. What is this? 2024? Codex. Welcome to the Codex. Strike. Oh. Wow, there's a lot here. Okay. Attack. Ooh, okay, so this is like way more in depth than the rulebook will be, right? Like, wow, attacking is one of the main ways you deal damage to your opponent's units and sites, and is a core part of Sorcery. Units attack is part of the move and attack basic ability, I agree. Certain rare effects may also explicitly allow attacks, e.g. Crave Golem. You may only attack enemy units on the surface of your site. When you attack, follow this sequence. Wow. Oh, no, go back to attack. Declare the attack target, assuming the attack target is illegal, attack. Declare the attack target and check that it's a legal target right now. If not, end this process and no. Yeah, okay, wait, so when you attack, follow this sequence. So, of course, you declare your attack after you move, right? That's the new part. You may only attack enemy units or the that are at your location. Follow this sequence. Declare the attack target, and you do that after you move. If it's a legal target, and check that it's a legal target right now. If not, end this process and no attack happened. So I guess you can target. I guess what this means is you can illegally target things. It doesn't work. You won't actually. I mean, I think this, assuming the attack target is legal, attack triggers are now satisfied, and the defender has been targeted and attacked, e.g. Baldassare Sir K. I don't think Sir K says attack. Like, he just says when he targets. He doesn't say when he attacks. There's nothing about Sir K that says this is an attack trigger. He can be a spellcaster and he can target things with spells. I don't know. I kind of disagree with Sir K being here, but Wills of the Wisp, Dodge Roll, like these I agree with. Using the story, like, yeah, he's like one of the weird ones where it was always like, I was saying before with like attacking illegal targets. Does he untap if he illegally targets something? I guess this is saying the answer is no, but I just feel like he's not worded that. I don't see attack trigger in this ability, you know? Open the defend window and then repeat through. Yeah. Check for attack target legality again. Units that use a defend are automatically legal targets. A stealth minion chooses to defend. A unit on Dome of Osiris chooses to defend. Oh! So that's actually nice because what it means is... Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's kind of weird because why would you attack on Dome of Osiris anyways? But a unit can defend on Dome of Osiris and then become an illegal target, I think is what that's saying. Oh, no. If you choose to defend, you are automatically a legal target because you're choosing to defend. So you do get attacked if you choose to defend on Dome of Oseros. But if you don't, okay. Wow, see, okay, so the Codex is huge for, like, figuring out tricky stuff. Let's do, like, Free City, right? Changelog, July 10th. Okay, Free City. It's just the changelog. I mean, that's cool that it's here, but I'm looking up Free City, man. Come on. 8 FAQs. Yeah, this was always a crazy one. Can my Free City be struck by opposing units? And if so, will it take damage? Yes, it can be struck, and any strike damage to your Free City will cause your avatar to lose the same amount of life. How do the strikes work? Normally, only units can strike, but card text allows a Free City site to strike as if it were a unit with 3 power. This is defend. It's striking as if it were a unit, but it's still a site, therefore it won't die. When can it attack? What can it attack? How does the attack work? I gotta say, it defends. I will die on this hill. Free City defends, and therefore, like, we just saw the rule book. It said if the player doesn't defend, they take damage and lose life. But I don't know. It needs an errata. If you want it to work that way, that's fine. But like, you gotta errata it. Dapperil. Yeah. When exactly is after? What? Keyword ability. Minions with stealth cannot be okay, what does this mean? Stealth is lost after interacting with the realm. So here's a precise explanation of when after occurs for the ways stealth could be lost. Important note, if a minion loses stealth for multiple reasons, e.g. activated ability that causes damage and does other things, a minion loses stealth after the first reason. Okay, right. Activate a special ability. Resolve the entire ability, including any death rights. Once the storyline is empty, stealth is lost. Deal damage. Okay, no, yeah, all of this makes sense to me. Maybe it won't to everybody. That's why it's here, and that's awesome. Okay, so yeah, I think I can't show you, like, I can only scratch the surface of this codex. It is pretty huge. I think there is where I'm going to call this video. I think I gave you my thoughts on the rules. We talked about literally everything in the article and on the annotated rulebook. Pretty excited. I do like some changes I'm not as thrilled with as others. Some of them, I think it was just the wrong time, looking at you, Dapperil Vampire. But in general, I'm happy with the direction that the game is going. Eric's Curiosa just announced like the Star City Games con thing happening, the partnership there. That's going to attract a lot of new players, a lot of competitive players. Organized play is just kind of taking off. And with all of that, you're going to need a comprehensive rulebook, and not just like, as awesome as like the community like judges are, like you kind of need something more like officiated than that. And so I'm glad that like this is definitely a very solid start, and like it'll just get better from here. I think Sorcery is really kind of starting to come into its own. It's really, if this game is a baby, it's learning how to walk, I think. And that is awesome for the longevity of the game. And with that, I am Roaring Turkey, guys. If you like this video and want to see more, subscribe to the channel, comment anything you want to see next, or just like say hi, because I'll say hi back. And yeah, leave a like. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a great day.